Hey everyone, this is Tanya.
Hi, this is Erin, and welcome to Wicked Psychotherapists.
Welcome back if you are returning, or welcome if you're a first time listener, but we love having you here either way.
Yes.
So today we are continuing. If you watched and or listened to last week's episode, you know that we did an Adam Sandler classic, and we are continuing along in our Adam Sandler hyperfixation as we often do with actors, actresses, or themes. And we are going to be talking about the Waterboy, which is 1998 classic. It's a
Yes.
classic now.
And
Oh
you could always
my
find it
God.
on, is it TBS that always has it or something? Like you always find it on TV. Like it's always like you put on the stations. Waterboy
Yeah,
is
it's
always
always
on.
there. I'm not sure. I haven't had cable in a long time, but
Oh,
I'm
I
sure
have
it
it
is.
all. Yeah.
But yeah, it's something that a lot of people loved. Has a lot of great humor,
Mm-hmm.
showcases a lot of Adam Sandler and his little crew there, their talents.
Yes.
Um, and we're also going to focus on, of course, some of the mental health themes because there are some of those present. So, and we'd be remiss if we didn't. Do you want to give your shout out?
Yeah. So this is my husband's favorite movie. And today, when we're recording, it's his birthday. So happy birthday, Todd.
Happy
And
birthday, Todd. Yeah.
And we, and this is, your favorite movie. So hope you
Yeah.
enjoy it.
Well, dedication to him falls perfectly on there. Um, yeah. So let's get into it. So the Water Boy. I have to say, I watched this again over the weekend, as I think you said you did too.
Hmm.
And I did not. I realized and remembered how juvenile the humor is, and it
Yeah.
still made me laugh. But I was like, oh man, it really is
Hmm.
really juvenile and just ridiculous Adam Sandler.
Yeah.
But did you kind of feel differently watching it again from when maybe watching it before?
Yeah. I mean, there's some parts that you're just like, oh, this is a little cringy, but I mean, I can't even count how many times I've seen this stupid movie, but it's so funny.
Yeah.
It is very juvenile. I mean, it is funny because they're all probably like in their 30s when they're doing this movie. It's like all
Yeah.
of Adam Sandler and his crew, but they're just, it's just
Yeah.
silly humor.
Acting like high schoolers basically. And even the character Bobby Boucher is like playing for or is working for and then plays for a team when he's like 31 and doesn't even have he's not even graduated from high school. He doesn't have his high school equivalency. So
Yeah.
yeah, that kind of fits too.
Yeah,
Kind of
because he was
matches up with
homeschooled
that.
by Mama, and who knows what type of credentials
Mama
she had.
Boucher. Yeah, she 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 thinks that happy joy comes from happiness and rainbows or something. Magical happiness and rainbows.
Yeah,
That's her scientific
yeah.
explanation. Um yeah, so the movie itself, I think it's when it first opens up and you see Bobby Boucher, my first feelings towards him are just absolute like, oh, like
Poor
he's
Bobby.
just such a pitiable character, like he's not pitiable, pitiful. I'm sorry, I'm making up words. Pitiful character, and he just seems to really, really care about water, making sure he calls himself the hydration engineer. He takes it very seriously. He's
Hmm.
got all these different types of water. He inspects it. His like sterilization process is on point, and he is just mercilessly bullied by
Hmm.
the football team. And it's very disheartening to watch, but
Yeah.
also you kind of can see why people, why he was a target because he was just so,
Hmm.
he couldn't really defend himself. Now, I'm not saying that's right. Obviously, it was not.
Right.
But that they just kind of saw him as an easy target because he didn't really know how to defend himself. He didn't
Right.
really understand social cues or anything like that, or he didn't have any social skills really
Yeah.
because he
Well,
was
he wasn't
raised by
really.
Mama Boucher.
I was gonna say he wasn't really exposed to too much. It sounded like it was
Hmm.
just him, his mom, his donkey.
Yeah, Steve the donkey.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just not really much. he didn't really have classmates, so that's probably why, at a young age, he went to either work or volunteer at the first college football team, to be the water boy.
Yeah. Yeah. He really just had well, it's kind of like his origin story was hearing this, which we learn is later a false story about his dad, who he never knew, who went in the Peace Corps and ended up in the desert and passed away because he didn't have water. And Bobby's like, oh, I would have been able to provide him water. So that's kind of his like,
if only I was there
his
for him. I could have given him his water.
Yeah. It's just ridiculous, but it's funny. Yeah, and so he takes this really seriously, and then the coach, Red Beaulieu, or Red, whatever his name is, he's like, just a jerk. He sees his players are focusing way too much on bullying and teasing Bobby, so he fires him. Of course, that's the most logical.
Yeah, instead of saying, "Hey, wait a minute, this kid has been my water boy for over 20 years. Let me try to, stick up for him." But instead, he's like, "You're fired," and then poor Bobby.
Yeah, that's just like a distraction for them, even though he's like so meticulous in his skills and really gives all this, instead of being like trying to teach his players like, hey, don't be rude jerks. Let's just fire this boy. And he's like, okay. He just takes it so calmly. Yeah, so that's kind of the start of the movie, and we see that Bobby Boucher has a passion for water, and he absolutely thinks of his mother as the end all be all, because that's the way she's placed herself in his life. And so he's like, Mama knows all. Mama always says what Mama says, and that's his creed, his motto for life.
Yeah. Well, she was a single mother, and she probably just really didn't want anything to happen to him, so she kind of really suffocated him too with everything.
Yeah, well, as we learn at the end that his Bobby's biological father, Robert, or Roberto as he becomes, ends up leaving and kind of develops this new life. He goes to, I think, Las Vegas or something, and he falls in love and just basically leaves her. And so she sees that as if Bobby tries to leave or develop his own life, he's going to leave me. It's like her own abandonment issues. And she basically projects that on his entire life and makes him, doesn't want him to be college educated, doesn't want him to really know anything. She's like, when he loses his job, she's like, that's great, you can spend time here with me at home. She doesn't really care that he's just lost something that is, he really loves. That's his personality and who he is as a person. It defines him. So a lot of mother-son codependent issues and projecting past trauma, passing it on to her son, Mama Boucher.
Well, and he also has past trauma because of, even if it's not a real story, he doesn't know at the time. So his trauma, his dad dying of thirst in the desert. So it just, so that's always part of him, of why he does what he does too.
Yeah. It's like his trauma narrative. Even when he goes to see the coach,
Coach Klein.
Coach Klein, yeah. When he goes to see him and he sees the bucket that he's serving that's all dirty and grungy, and he's like, I will do it for free. Do not serve that ever to any human. It's just it's beyond his he can't handle that. That's not something he could ever conceive of. Clean, fresh water is such a part of his belief system for everybody because of that story of his dad. Yeah, it's kind of, and he's like, I'll work for free. You don't have to pay me, which is just insane. But yeah, and then he goes and he works for the Mud Dogs, and the Mud Dogs, what do? They see this guy that's a little bit eccentric, a little bit, has different ways, and they're like, let's pick on him. Let's show him, let's welcome him and knock over all his water stand that he just carefully set up and was trying to titrate the water and sterilize it.
Yeah, spit in it, and which is so gross. So you're spitting in the water you're going to drink.
Yeah, I was thinking that too. I'm like, what? Like, really, these are oafs. They really don't understand that. Like, okay, yeah, you should have served it to them then.
Yeah, and then that made him start thinking of what happened to him when he was just a little boy. Same thing. I think that's what sparked the anger in Bobby.
Yeah. Was it the same? Was it the same guy?
No, I don't think. Maybe I don't know. I don't think.
Or maybe
no.
it was like a father or something, because he looked like he had the same crossed eyes in the memory. Or maybe I'm remembering that wrong. Maybe he's just he was remembering it.
Yeah, I don't think so. Or maybe they had the same actor just play somebody different.
Yeah, they were like, whatever, you'll do.
Yeah, you're big.
You've got a you know, that crazy voice.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I think that also becomes, that's where Bobby first recognizes, well, actually Coach Klein recognizes that Bobby gets so upset that he ends up sacking this dude who spit in the cooler, and or in the water, and he's like, okay, oh my God, this guy's got skill. And so he can, take some of this anger, this frustration of being bullied and put down his whole life, and put it towards being a good football player, a good, defenseman,
right.
and being able to tackle people. And that really appeals to Coach Klein, because the Mud Dogs suck. They're like always in last place, and
drunk.
The cheerleaders are just drinking out of like a bourbon whiskey bottle, and they're just passed out, laughing, smoking.
Yeah.
Because they're like, there's nothing to cheer on here.
Yeah, we'll just get drunk in the stands.
Yeah. Which is just kind of hilarious. It's like even the cheer squad has given up. They're depressed and they're drinking. Yeah, so then Bobby realizes, oh, okay, I can kind of use, which is kind of like a therapy skill, right? Sublimating, using some coping skills to say, hey, rather than being stuck with some of this anger and acting out and maybe just, tackling my professor like he does do, that was probably not a good use of the coping skills. I'm going to use it in a game where that's really advantageous to to the team and to my skills.
Yeah.
Which is something I think we talk about with our clients, right? Being able to say, hey, if you have this difficulty and this is kind of difficult, maybe you can transfer some of that over there. Sometimes, in some cases, if it's appropriate, I guess.
Well, and it's not always healthy to keep it in. Like where Bobby probably always was like, all right, yes, okay. Just not really encouraged to express anger or encouraged to show anything to bullies. So by letting it out, it's probably not the healthiest, but it is way healthier than just keeping it in.
Yeah, for sure. Because then, he just kind of takes it on himself. It affects his own self-esteem. And then he explodes at the wrong moment, like when the professor tells him your mama's wrong, and he can't handle that.
What?
he tackles Colonel Sanders.
Yeah, he's like, because I think it's also like when the whole class laughs too. I think that kind of something triggers him too. It's like, oh, everybody's bullying me.
Yeah, he recognizes that setup of like, oh no, now I'm back in the same place. What do you think of the Vicky Valancourt or Valancourt? What do you think of her character kind of coming in and I know when he first brings her up, I guess he's known her from as when he was a kid, and the mom's like, stay away from little girls, they're the devil.
Yeah,
and
Vicky's the devil. Yeah. Well, I mean, like Vicky obviously probably has some stuff going on in her life, because it sounds like she's been in and out of juvie and just got out of jail when she sees him again, and stealing the sports car, whatever she does, but she seems like her best interest is always for Bobby. So she sees like Bobby as like the sweet boy, sweet man, and just somebody, and it's probably someone who's totally different than people she's been exposed to. And so there's some reason she's drawn to Bobby. And I feel like her intentions are true, like to protect Bobby.
Yeah, I think so too. I think she maybe has kind of overly aggressive tactics, but she means well for him. Like she really is like very, very protective, like with the scene where he's taking the high school equivalency test and she has the sign saying, "Do you want me to kill them?" Like
And he's like, no, I'm fine. Let me just take the test.
that wouldn't be good, no. Oh my gosh. Yeah, and so I think that she does seem to be fiercely loyal to him. Like she does see something in him, but when she comes over for that barbecue, Mama Boucher, Helen, whatever, Kathy Bates, yeah, whatever she's always Kathy Bates to me, but she just does not approve of this girl because
Right.
she sees it as a person who's going to take her boy away, right?
Right.
And then she starts embarrassing him, which I thought was so manipulative and emotionally
Yeah.
abusive to be like, "Oh, did you see his sheets? Like, do you know what he does? Like, do you know he wears these types of like embarrassing pajamas, like cartoon pajamas?" And just like to be like, "That's his sheet," and showing his like pea-ridden, you know, sheet,
Yeah.
which is
And
just
then Vicky, the whole
disgusting.
time, she's just like, she's probably disgusted the whole time, but she's like, oh, that's fine. I love superheroes. I love this. And, she's like,
The pea
okay,
one though, she was like, "All right."
I'm not going to say I love that he pees the bed.
Yeah, that's a little too far. Where she was like, I'm still with him. I'm still here." Yeah. Um. But yeah, that's and then the scene where they're eating and she's barbecuing the little
Alligators.
alligators and they're just like mini. I was just like, oh, that is so disgusting. I was kind of curious. I wonder what that was made of because then the actress or Vicky takes a bite
Yeah,
of
the head off.
of one.
Yeah, I'm sure
Yeah,
it's
I wonder
probably
if it was
just
like like gummy bear-ish type
maybe
stuff or
some candy or
yeah.
something
I was
a
kind of curious
cookie.
about that. Yeah, because I think I wanted gummy bears at that time, and I was like, I wonder if that's a gummy bear. It's like a gummy bear flavor. I was in the
Ugh.
mood for gummy bears when I was watching it. Um, but yeah, I do. I think she's fiercely loyal, and she does see something very different than she's kind of rough around the edges, so she's probably, like you said, met a lot of characters who they didn't mean well, and she sees that he does mean well. He's like a good person. He maybe doesn't understand things and can't really stick up for himself, but that
Hmm.
he really is truly a good-natured person.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think that's a cute kind of match there.
Hmm.
And he likes her because she's nice to him and she's just kind of different, kind of has some
Hmm.
wild ideas. She I also like that she can fix things up. She's very mechanically inclined
Yeah.
and she's really kind of like,
Yeah, she's
really
a
really
strong
great with her hands.
and it's interesting too because she's a really strong woman and independent
Mhm.
and so it's interesting that he's drawn to that where his mom is too. His mama is very independent. She had to be independent by, since Roberto left them. And
Yeah. Like there's similar characteristics, but they're different because like there's not that I think he senses and this is going way too deep for the Waterboy, but this is what we do. Um, that I think Vicky is someone who wants, him to be able to do what he wants to do, whereas,
Mhm.
his mother, Mama Boucher, is very smothering and
Yeah.
wants, the control over
Yeah.
him
Yeah,
to keep him
Vicky.
close.
Yeah, Vicky sees like he's having fun on the Mud Dogs. He likes playing football. He's able to be honest with her and tell her that he's doing it where he tells his mama that he's gotten attacked by a gorilla or whatever.
Yeah, that
Cuz
was oh my gosh. And she puts up the wanted sign of wanted and just a drawing of a gorilla and then like dollars.
like what is she going to do when she gets him?
Yeah, yell at him or kick him or what? I don't know. What are you gonna do? And I don't think anybody would be like, "Oh, if I saw a gorilla, yeah, I'm gonna go
I'm going to
and
go get it for you.
yeah, and turn him in for money because they're probably gonna rip my face off too."
Yeah.
But I don't know. Who knows? Once again, this is the Waterboy world, and we're just going way too deep with it. But it is hilarious. We do see Adam Sandler's crew in there, right? You got the Rob Schneider and a
The same guy that
couple
was in
other
the
people.
same. Let me pull it up really quick. Yeah, the
I
same
can't think of their names.
Peter Dante. He was in Mr. Deeds,
Yeah, yeah.
and Rob Schneider is a usual. Henry Winkler, I think, is in a couple of. I feel like we see Henry Winkler in some other movies that they do together.
I think so too. That sounds right. Yeah. Who's like the Fonz? I mean, like that's just nuts.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean,
bizarre.
and Henry Winkler is really great in this movie too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's hilarious.
And he has a lot of psychological stuff going on too with his bully, Coach Red.
Yeah. Yeah. He kind of has a history with him that we find out where basically Red stole his plays that, Coach Klein had made up back in their early days when they were both up for the head coach job, and Red just aggressively took it from him and was like, are we gonna have to use force? And just
He's
basically
like, nope.
took it, got the job.
Yeah, then he had like a little nervous breakdown. What I really like about that scene is they didn't even try to make them look younger.
Mm-hmm. I thought that too. Oh my gosh, it was so bad. That's so true. And the wigs were so horrible. Like he's got this like poofed out hair that just looks so much like a wig, and it's not even like the same color. Like it's just ridiculous.
So funny.
And they've got like wrinkles and stuff, and they're like, yeah, we're like young coaches.
We're in college.
Which I think is like, that's part of, I love that in Adam Sandler's movies and in some other ones around that time, but especially in Adam Sandler's movies, they don't like try because they just want you to laugh at that. Yeah. Because it's like just so ridiculous in and of itself, which just makes it even funnier. Yeah, so that really is, yeah. He does have an issue. He kind of never really stood up against Red, so whenever he sees him, when he's playing against him, when he senses like, oh, he's using those bullying tactics, he kind of withdraws and has that same kind of feeling of like, I can't win this, and get put back into that place.
Yeah, I can't stick up for you. Just like when the whole football team comes on their bus when the Mud Dogs are celebrating their win, and Coach Red calls out Bobby Boucher for not having a diploma or whatever, and saying that he lied, and Coach Klein doesn't stick up for him. And then when Bobby finds out the truth, it's, he's really upset, like, why couldn't you stick up for me? But it's going back to Coach Klein was back to that young adult feeling like, here's my bully and I can't stick up for him. I'm, so instead of standing up for someone who I want to, I can't.
Yeah. Trauma affects you in a lot of ways, and he said, I ran in here and I cried under my desk like a 10-year-old little girl, and
I cried and cried and cried. Yeah.
Yeah, it's yeah, and then what's kind of ironic is it shows Bobby's personality and his character. He helps out Coach Klein and helps him to kind of deal with his bully by visualizing him as a little baby and being like, oh, he can't really do any harm, or as like a cute little puppy, and then that helps him to kind of push through that. So again, very, Bobby's kind of doing some therapy with other people. He's kind of pushing some visualization exercises.
Well, and he sees too that Coach Klein helped him with those visualization. Yeah, his visualization was to be better at the football field, but then Bobby's like, wait a minute, this worked for me. Let's make Coach Klein see a little baby or little whatever, little puppy or something, so he can start doing his plays and he's not as intimidated.
I cracked up at the image of the baby, and especially the dog. When the dog came on, I laughed so hard because it was just so out of place, and it was like these ears, and it was just this little Cocker Spaniel, and he was like, oh, and I was thinking like, oh, it does look cute, and then I was like, oh my gosh, this is so funny. It was just so bizarre. And he's just he kept looking at him smiling, and Red's like,
what?
Like,
why are you smiling at me? Yeah.
Which is hilarious. Yeah, so there's a lot of themes in here with bullying, mother-son relationships, how trauma can affect you, how being in a codependent relationship and with your mother, and your mother keeping you in that can affect you. But also with Bobby Boucher kind of overcoming that, right? And being able to show that he does have this capacity to be this person. He was kind of being held back, and he wasn't really given the
Mhm.
opportunity and the chances for this. And even learning in school, he gets really upset at Colonel Sanders and tackles him when he says Mama was wrong. But then it seems like he's really kind of taking on those courses and is learning something
Yeah.
from it, because later he's like, alligators are angry because of an elongated Abdullah oblongata, or
Yeah.
oh God,
Yeah, you're right.
Abdullah oblongata,
Yeah.
medulla oblongata. Oh my gosh, you know what
No,
I mean? That part that they
no one's
named
gonna call you out on it. And
medulla
instead of
oblongata.
just being honorary or whatever, why whatever they.
Yeah. Yeah, like and him being like, "Oh, it's because they can't brush their teeth." Mama says it's because they got all those teeth and they can't brush their teeth. So I'm just making crap up, and it's kind of funny, but yeah, um, yeah. It really is like he's kind of like noticing, oh wow, I've been kept in this world, but I still love my mama. At the end,
Yeah.
he's still um you know, still respects his mom and still understands that she went through a hard situation. That's why she was trying to keep
Yeah.
her
Yeah.
son close to her.
Yeah. And speaking of being close too, like then, when she finds out the truth that he was playing football, that's when she fakes this, like this illness or whatever,
Oh
is
yeah.
in like a fake coma. It's just, very, again, trying to control Bobby so that he has to quit football, but also stay with her.
Yeah. I'm like, oh, you're gonna destroy me if you do these things. And then when she hears all the people outside his window being
Yeah.
like, oh, Waterboy, Waterboy, she's like, oh, maybe I have been treating
Yeah.
him too
Yeah.
selfishly.
People love him.
Yeah. It's really funny though in the hospital room where like Steve the donkey is allowed, and then like her whole bed setup is allowed, and like
Yeah.
just her canopy bed and all her crap is in there, and it's like basically I at first I was like, oh, they got back home, like that's weird, and then I was like, oh, they're still at the hospital. She just made it her own,
Yeah.
like she all her stuff, including her big donkey, were there.
Because that's
The
normal.
big donkey,
Yeah.
yeah, and it was just like that was accepted. But that's the world of Adam Sandler is, just this ridiculousness and this
Yeah.
silliness, which is just always fun to visit. And
Hmm.
we are looking at, of course, some of the therapy uh, skills and themes in this, but obviously this is just overall a really funny,
Yeah.
great movie that it was just
It
nice
still
to
holds
watch
up.
that.
I mean, it's, again, if you have cable, you'll see it on like weekly. It's on something. But I don't know. It's just Adam Sandler. Like I said in Mr. Deeds episode, it took me a while to get on that Adam Sandler thing because I was like, oh my God, he's so immature. But he's so funny. And now that I understand Adam Sandler, they're pretty much almost all his movies I love.
Yeah. Yeah, you just kind of have to get that he's always, there was just a phase where he was absolutely ridiculous. He maybe matured a little bit, but in different, not really. He still shows his
Yeah.
immaturity in a lot of different ways, but it's just hilarious and his perspective. Yeah, and I do think that he is really skillful in being able to kind of take on these weird, goofy characters,
Hmm.
and just kind of just humiliate himself and just make really silly, funny movies.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I don't know that he is I don't know if he's working on anything right now. Is he still
Well,
kind
there
of doing
is, we did talk about this. Like, there is going to be a Happy Gilmore 2
right?
on
Yeah.
Netflix in July. So Tanya and I are
Yeah.
going to be doing Happy Gilmore 1 and 2 in the near future.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
and
'cause
also
that's a
if you
good
guys have
one.
any other Adam Sandler movies that you can think of that, because we do get the fan mail and we do read it. And if there's anyone that's like, hey, what about this? We'll do it.
For sure. For sure. Yeah, we would We would love that because he's hilarious, and we can always find some mental health themes in there. Of course, you may not want to look at it from that perspective. That's just kind of what we do, but we just really enjoy these movies. They're funny, and it's a good break from all the stuff going on in the world, right?
Yes, exactly. Yeah, kind of watch The Waterboy.
Yeah, it's some fun stuff. It was nice to just last night, Sunday night, it was just kind of like, hey, this is a nice decompressor after watching various other shows that I was telling you about.
Yeah,
that I don't
Tanya watches a lot of dark stuff, which I have too. We've been watching some dark series, but which but I like comedy.
Yeah, it's good to you definitely. I need to have like a palate cleanser. Like I just can't. Yeah, especially with the nightmares I get from the true crime stuff.
Yes, maybe you should make sure you don't watch that late at night. Or
I tell myself that, and then I end up just doing it. And my husband is always saying, "Don't do it," and I'm like, "I won't," and then I do it. And so
you're like, just two more.
Yeah. I get kind of hooked on it, but that's just me and my own issues. So anything else that we want to add to the Waterboy, which is just
no, I think we covered most of the topics that we had said we wanted to, but I don't know if you have. It's obviously there's spoilers, and but again, this was released in 1998, I think, and it is a good movie. It's it's not politically correct, of course, but it's funny and it's a good movie. It's Adam Sandler.
Yeah, there's definitely going to be the 1998, and I'm not, of course we don't excuse this, but there are some, terms that are used, some things that are probably some people, maybe that grew up in a different generation that are younger, probably would be like, wow, that's really
hurtful.
Awful the way he was bullied, the names he was
which
called,
which you wouldn't call people. Hopefully people don't call people anything like that now, and it's not right, but it is a movie and it was a different time.
Yeah, it was something where I think that was kind of thrown around a lot.
Yeah.
Again, not to say it's right, but it is in there. So
yeah.
So anyway, should we get on to our? I'm not going to say this is a fun question, but it's an interesting one.
Okay.
Well, it's kind of a gross one. So it's cuisine based. Okay.
Oh, gross.
So
okay.
if you had to choose between eating the snake in the movie or the alligators, which would you choose?
Well, the snake, at least she sliced it. She gave Coach Klein the kneecap or whatever she said. But and the alligators, I don't know how else you eat the alligators except how Vicky did. Like, just go right in it and just eat the head. I don't know. They're both so unappetizing looking. I guess if I was forced, I would choose the snake.
Okay.
What about you?
I would go the other direction. I would choose the alligators because I know that there is alligator meat that, people have told me. I think one of my sisters said she tried it and it tastes like chicken. That's what she like really greasy chicken or something. I think that's how she described it. She had it when she was visiting Florida a while back. And I just picture that may be more palatable. I would probably just cut off the head or something. Oh, this is disgusting, but I don't think I would eat it the way Vicky did, but I think I would probably go for that because the thought of eating a snake is like the innards just the texture just makes me sick.
Both of it just seems so gross. I would just ask Helen, Mama, if I could not eat, but
she would be very insulted though because that's her specialty cuisine.
Her big barbecue. Buy you fresh catch, whatever I catch, buy you.
Yeah, that's her thing. That's her specialty. Oh my god, I'm like the picturing that snake on the table just makes me absolutely
well. Then
ill.
They're gonna have squirrel for dessert, so that's also yummy.
Yeah, that was caught in like that light thing, and she was like,
squirrel.
Yeah, So I mean, to each their own. Maybe some people do eat that, whatever. I just personally, it doesn't appeal to me.
Yeah.
it doesn't appeal to us. It sounds like but
no, I mean no. I'm sure most.
I also think if people were to eat that, it would be served very differently.
Yeah,
right?
I don't think
like
you
it
would
would
have
not
the full.
be.
I don't think you'd have the full snake wrapped up with an apple in some mouth or however it was.
Yeah, like a pig roast kind of thing. And the alligator probably would not be. It would probably be like in pieces, not like in whole, like not the baby.
Yeah, and you wouldn't see the babies. You would be like, oh, babies.
Yeah, but yeah, that just we wonder what So if you have an answer to that and some explanation, but that's our thoughts on not only cuisine that is not appealing to us, but also the movie. Let us know.
Yeah. And I have seen people eat snake on like Naked and Afraid and stuff like that when they have to, and I think Survivor, but I don't know.
I think I was judging it based on the way it was served in the movie.
Definitely disgusting.
That's what I would do.
Yeah. So gross.
But if it were served up differently, maybe my opinion would change, but just in the movie, I'd probably go for the alligator.
I still think
probably just because it's smaller too.
I still think I'd have to do the snake.
Yeah.
And then throw up.
And then and then go throw up and not eat again for a while. Yeah. But yeah, so if you have any thoughts or anything that we missed out on or anything you just want to add, if you love The Waterboy, if you hate it, if you don't really care, if you just want to watch it and see, if you're of the younger generation, your
first time.
Yeah, or maybe third time, but watching it at different times, let us know, because my opinion was definitely very different. I used to just kind of cackle at this when I was younger, but now it's kind of like, this is stupid, but it was like a stupid laugh, but it's still funny. It's still very enjoyable. So make sure to follow us on socials. We are on everything: Instagram, Facebook, and even YouTube.
Just look up Wicked Psychotherapists.
Faces. Yeah. And I forgot our outro. And I don't have the thing in front of me. And don't forget, stay well.
Wait, let's start over. Don't forget to stay wicked.
Don't forget to stay wicked.
And keep your mind well. All right. Okay. Do you want to do that again?
Yes,
okay.
I usually have the paper in front of me because I cannot remember the order of it, and I didn't have it.
Stay wicked.
And don't forget, stay wicked. And, okay. Yeah.
Okay. And tell me when. You're so funny.
Okay. And don't forget, stay wicked.
And keep your mind well. All right, everybody. Have a great week. Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.
Stop it.